Hello and welcome to your 4:30 Salford Now programme with Ruby Sturgis.
And I'm Jack Holmes. Here's what's coming up on today's show. Liz Truss is to ditch plans to abolish the 45p rate of tax for higher earners.
Are you absolutely committed to abolishing the 45 pence tax rate for the wealthiest people in the country?
Yes. Salford's largest ever haul of illegal e-cigarettes has been seized in Broughton.
I think they're a heck of a lot safer than tobacco products because they don't burn anything. They heat the actual liquids, so there's no tar, no chemicals that are obviously more harmful in cigarettes.
Macmillan Coffee Mornings are back this year, aiming to raise more money than ever.
We know from our own research that having a cancer diagnosis can cost £1,000 a month. It's an enormous amount of money. Add into that, the backlog with treatment and everything else with the cost of living crisis, then you can tell that people really do need our support.
Now, earlier today, the Chancellor, Kwasi Kwarteng, announced that the government is abandoning its plans to abolish the top rate of income tax for the highest earners. Sophie Ronsby joins us in the studio now. So, Sophie, what is the tax cut and what will it mean for people?
So people who earn between £50,000 and £150,000 are taxed 40% on their income over £50,000. But anyone earning over £150,000 are taxed 45% as they are classified as high earners. The tax cut was meant to be for those people earning over £150,000 and it was meant to encourage them to go out, spend more money, and then hopefully that would boost the economy. And this was announced in the mini budget 10 days ago. But this morning the Chancellor announced that they are now going to scrap the planned tax cut.
So why are they doing this U-turn?
Well, the U-turn was definitely a surprise after Liz Truss told BBC that she was absolutely committed to the policy and that she would not abandon it. But the U-turn comes after Tory MPs said that they did not back the policy and they think they would have been rejected if it went for a vote in the House of Commons. But the Chancellor is saying that they only abolished the plan because it was a huge distraction to their economical growth plan. And he said that on Twitter that we get it and we have listened. So he's saying that he's listened to the people, to what they want, because it was a very controversial policy. And now after people have disputed it and said that they don't want it, that he's now going to listen to them and do what they want. But they all came very suddenly.
How have the people reacted to the U-turn so far? Do you think it could change their views on the government possibly?
Well, the policy U-turn has been described as humiliating, bruising and damaging, and there were many more adjectives to describe it. And people are actually calling for the Chancellor to now resign, to which he said he was not considering at all. But I think it's clear that the government's plans were clearly very unpopular across the country.
Thank you for that, Sophie. Salford City Council announced over the weekend they raided a vape shop in Broughton, seizing 77,000 illegal vapes in what was the 13th vape shop raid this year in the UK. With vaping rising amongst young people, is it safe to vape? Adam
Boxed
Gooseman
up
reports.
and stacked high, this shows the scale of the problem of illegal vapes in Salford. Vaping amongst young people has risen, with 15.8% of 11 to 17-year-olds having tried vaping in 2022. Compared to around 11% last year.
It's here in Broughton where the questions surrounding vapes begun, with Salford City Council saying they seized over 77,000 vapes in what is being called the biggest haul in the UK. So, are vapes safe?
Luke works at a vape shop in the Salford precinct. He thinks vapes are safe for his customers to use.
I think they're a heck of a lot safer than tobacco products because they don't burn anything. They heat the actual liquids, so there's no tar, no chemicals that are obviously more harmful in cigarettes. So with the vapes, I'd probably look out for recommended manufacturer ones. A lot of them bear holograms, so you know the authenticity, and they can be checked online as well. Avoid possibly the copy ones or ones that you're not unsure about.
And with more young people approaching vape shops every day, I asked Luke if there are any questions that he asks his customers ahead of a purchase.
One of the biggest ones really is if they are smokers or have smoked, if they have, how many they have a day, and then we can recommend the correct nicotine level for them. First time vapors, like you mentioned, that maybe have not vaped or smoked prior, then we do a range of non-nicotine disposables as well, so essentially it's the flavours, more like shishin really.
The anti-smoking group ash.org.uk are campaigning for a smoke-free Britain by 2030, where just 5% of the population are smoking. Ash are conscious young people have changing attitudes to vaping and smoking.
I mean, I just vaped like from 1 month ago, but I was a smoker. I quit, and then when I go out, sometimes I smoke. I like to smoke, and I decided to vape because I like the taste, and I prefer to don't smoke cigarettes.
Vape first.
Do you like the vape?
It's just more of a social thing, like when I'm drinking or whatever.
And what do you think about like the vape shop round here being raided into? Do you feel like vapes are safe?
Didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No, what happened?
So a shop in Broughton got raided last week because they had 77,000 illegal vapes. So will you be buying a vape thing and they're safe again?
Probably not now.
Salford City Council have confirmed that their trading standards team will continue to take action against any who put public health at risk by ignoring or flouting the law. Adam Gooseman, Salford Now.
Last week, the BBC aired a panorama documentary highlighting malpractice in the mental health unit at the Edenfield Centre. Conor McCann is here in the studio with some more information about this evolving situation.
Thank you, Ruby. Last Tuesday, the BBC broadcast a panorama episode displaying a range of serious issues taking place in a mental health ward in Manchester. Previously, the University of Salford has sent nursing students to the Edenfield Centre to complete their placements. However, the 11 students that were there have now been offered alternative placements. The School of Health and Society have said their students' welfare is top priority, and they know the situation may be worrying and upsetting for those affected. I also reached out to the spokesperson of the Greater Manchester Mental Health Trust, who oversees the Edenfield Centre. They told me that the following in the documentary: the allegations are being taken very seriously and they have put immediate actions in place to protect patient safety.
1 in 2 people will face cancer in their lifetime, and with everything costing more, people living with cancer are feeling the brunt of the cost of living crisis more than others.
Charities such as Macmillan are more reliant on fundraising events like the coffee morning they host each year in order to help those who have received a cancer diagnosis.
Abby Titmus went to one hosted by Salford Breast Buddies to find out how important the money raised is for people during the cost of living crisis.
At a time where people are counting the pennies and struggling to afford to make a cup of tea, people with cancer are struggling even more so. Coffee morning set up by the charity Macmillan is helping those suddenly facing extra costs. Michelle O'Leary, one of the team at Macmillan, explained how important these fundraising events are and the financial implications of cancer diagnosis.
The money raised today will help us give Macmillan grants of £350 each. We know from our own research that having a cancer diagnosis can cost £1,000 a month. It's an enormous amount of money. Add into that, the backlog with treatment and everything else with the cost of living crisis, then you can tell that people really do need our support.
Over the fundraising period, there will be thousands of coffee mornings across the Greater Manchester region, like the one hosted by Salford's Breast Buddies. The women in attendance today have come together to support one another and raise money for a charity that has helped so many of them. Anne Albinson is one of those who has been helped by the group and by Macmillan.
How important is it to meet other people who've been in similar situations to yourself?
Well, for me, that's been brilliant because I've made some really good new friends and you can just talk openly with them. It's personal, it's so personal, and sometimes people who haven't gone through it can't understand what it is exactly that you're trying to say, and they can't empathise as well. So it's good to be able to talk to somebody who's gone through it as well.
The money raised for Macmillan can help people in many ways. It has helped provide training for over 2,000 nurses, and in this current economic crisis, people are using the grants to simply survive.
We're finding at the moment that the Macmillan grants are actually just used for people to pay food and heating bills. That's how desperate things are.
Macmillan had their first coffee morning in 1991, and since then the charity has raised over £290 million. In Greater Manchester alone in 2021, they raised over £800,000.
The money has also helped with the staff who have dealt with the 4,274 calls to the helpline in 2021. With the coffee morning becoming more popular each year, the money raised is needed more today than ever. Abby Titmus, Salford Now.
The Blackfriar pub in Salford is launching a cheaper menu Monday to make their dishes more accessible to locals during the current cost of living crisis. Nadine Asti has been out to find out more.
For many businesses, the energy bills has significantly increased. However, it did not stop the Salford's gastropub to now open on Mondays and introduce an affordable Monday menu.
Well, I think at the moment we haven't necessarily been that affected. I think the summer's been very, very good for us. I think obviously with the most recent fiscal event, as I think they're calling it, you know, it's only been a week since that happened, so it's hard to know exactly what's happening.
The Blackfriar pub wants to be more accessible and help Salfordians as the cost of living has been affecting many of us. The new pub grub menu and happy hour features wallet-friendly dishes and drinks.
I think the thing that comes up a lot when people sort of think about the Blackfriar is that value for money. Now we do an a la carte menu which runs Tuesday through to Saturday, and those dishes are excellent dishes, like, you know, really, really world-class food and delicious, and they're sort of priced accordingly. But also we can't ignore the fact that, you know, we call ourselves a pub, we want to be a gastropub, and we also want to be as accessible, I think, to as many people as possible.
Customers seem to be happy with the new, cheaper Monday menu.
Oh yeah, I think it's quite good. Like, because I think it gives options for people to come if they don't have like quite a lot of money to like spend on the normal menu. And I quite like, you know how they used to have, I don't know if you know, but they used to have like just the expensive menu, and then they introduced some of the like cheaper things. I think it gives like wider access to some of the people.
Nadine at Sea, Salford Now.
Now, we all know about performances over the quays at the Lowry Theatre, but Ruby, have you ever been to Salford Arts Theatre?
No, I haven't. Is there anything new on at the minute?
Well, let me tell you. A new play gets its debut performance at Salford Arts Theatre this Thursday and will run until Saturday. It's a chance to support young and upcoming playwrights and actors and independent theatre. And as Jessica Mason's been finding out, it takes its name from a famous song.
Please, 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 let me get what I want this time.
Soon, these empty seats will be filled by lovers of theatre and performance, ready to watch Salford Art Theatre's latest play, Please Let Me Get What I Want. It has been in the works since February this year and will be making its debut this week.
So the main kind of themes are like friendship, ambition and morality, and how them three can kind of feed into one another. How can a friendship survive if one person in the friendship is maybe changing and doing some questionable things? There's some settings in the play that are actually places in Salford, but I'm always quite inspired by the things around me when I'm writing. It's always usually things that I've heard or pieces of dialogue that someone I know has actually said that I take. And the actors are both from Salford themselves, so yeah, it is definitely very much a Salford piece.
The Salford actors, who have been working together since their time in the theatre's Young Performers Company, have been rehearsing hard and are excited for the public to finally be able to see it.
I play Zach Johnson.
I play Alice Phillips. It works around, she'd give us like a topic or an idea, and then me and Vin would do improvs, which would just sort of go on and on and on, and then Libby would make it...
Make sense.
Yeah, make it presentable for people.
My character's a bit of an odd one, really. I mean, he's quite all over the place in whether he's happy or whether he's depressed or whatever, so it's not like I pulled from distinct people for that, but the kind of actions that he did and stuff and the way he kind of acts, I kind of have got from people that are know and are local to Salford, yeah.
These Salford creatives are certainly raising the curtain for their new career. Jessica Mason, Salford Now.
That's all from us. We'll see you tomorrow.
Goodbye.